The Oregon Trail and Westward Expansion, a History Perspectives book by Kristen Marciniak. Chapter 2. Kukaniwi, Cheyenne Tribesmen. Kukaniwi, Cheyenne Tribesmen. I was just a boy of 11 in 1843 when the first large group of settlers crossed our summer hunting grounds. All 10 bands or family groups of Cheyenne people had gathered to hunt buffalo and smaller game along the path taken by the white men traveling to Oregon country. I was excited by these new visitors, but also afraid. They looked and acted so different from us. I had never seen a white man before. My brothers and sisters hadn't either, but our father remembered the missionaries from the 1830s. They were kind at first, he said. Cheyenne elders thought they could live in peace with these new neighbors. But by the time they realized their mistake, it was too late. The white man, my father explained, wanted to change our way of life by forcing us to become part of their society. We watched the wagon train leave our hunting grounds, moving toward the Rocky Mountains. I thought that was the last I would see of the white man. I was wrong. It is 1852, and I am 20 now. Like the rest of the men in my band, I spend the days hunting. Buffalo is our main source of food, clothing, and shelter. We hunt on horseback using bows and arrows to shoot the buffalo. Sometimes we drive the herd off cliffs or into deep snow. We hunt other large animals, including deer and wild sheep, and smaller animals such as coyotes, foxes, and rabbits. We Cheyenne are nomads. We follow the buffalo across the open plains. During the winter months, each band follows a different group of buffalo. In the summer, when the buffalo gather in one place, the entire tribe comes together for hunting and tribal ceremonies. We do not have permanent homes. When the buffalo move to a new location, the women pack up our camp so we can follow. Women own and take care of our 3-poled teepees, which are draped in buffalo skins. The women are in charge of finding water and firewood, cooking and making all the clothing and ceremonial robes. Men hunt and fight when necessary. Every person in our band has a responsibility, right down to the small boys who tend the horses. Horses are an important part of Cheyenne life. Our band of 300 people has a herd of 1,000. We ride them to chase the buffalo. We raise them for trade with other tribes and the white man. While we try to live off the land as much as possible, there are some things we cannot make. We must purchase our barter for guns, ammunition, knives, kettles, cloth, and glass beads. We depend on the white man for these items, but it is an uneasy relationship. The white man fears us and calls us uncivilized savages. He does not understand that people can live differently and that we have thrived this way for hundreds of years. He only sees wide open land that is free for his taking and thinks we are standing in his way. Just as he fears us, we fear him. Not only because he has weapons. Our bows and arrows are faster and just as deadly as their guns. It is the power that he holds over us that frightens us. As more settlers move to the west, our land is getting smaller. We, along with many other tribes, have entered treaties with the U.S. government in efforts to protect our people and way of life. In exchange, we are often forced to give up the land that we have roamed for years. Such a treaty was signed last year in 1851. Cheyenne leaders as well as elders from the Arapaho, Teton Sioux, and Crow tribes met with U.S. officials at Fort Laramie. Each tribe was assigned to a specific area of the plains. In exchange, we would receive protection from hostile settlers and $50,000 in supplies. The Cheyenne and the Arapaho people are now limited to land between the Platte River and the Arkansas River west of the Rocky Mountain foothills. The buffalo are still free to roam, but we are not. The herds are thinning because the white man hunts them for food and sport. We are not allowed to leave our land to follow those that are left. I often wonder what is to become of my people if the buffalo disappear. How will we feed, clothe, and shelter our families? How will we survive? The numbers of Cheyenne are already growing smaller. Since the white man began steadily crossing our land 9 years ago, he has brought diseases that we have never before seen. These include smallpox and black measles. 2 entire bands of Cheyenne were killed by cholera in 1849. A third was so badly affected that the survivors had to join another band. Many in my band became ill, but fortunately most survived. I fear we do not have much to look forward to, though. Treaties. Treaties between the United States and Native Americans resulted in the United States taking more and more land away from the Native Americans. Just a few years after the treaty at Fort Laramie, the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854 took land from Indian Territory to create the states of Kansas and Nebraska. Last year, the white man's Congress created a policy that forces Native people to live on reservations away from the trails and new settlements. My people have been spared so far, but I have heard of other plains peoples who have already been moved. Unable to hunt the buffalo, they are starving. The government promises them supplies, but the supplies either never show up or are stolen by thieves to sell for profit. It is a grim life. I don't know what will happen to us, but I cannot bear the thought of my people meeting such a fate.